Hey everyone, Happy New Year. I am so sorry I've been checked out of Evony, Discord, YouTube. I have just been dealing with a lot of real life stuff, and I am at least happy to say that my real life cat baby bear is still with us. She is doing okay. So all of my focus has really been going to that. And now that we kind of have our routine and I know what to look for and how to care for her, it has been helpful with the process. So I'm trying to, get into like all of my real life things that I have to deal with, but I want to make sure to keep the connections open with the Evony community. So I came back to Tay showing me this screenshot, and apparently there is a pack. It's almost kind of like those Ymir packs where you buy a pack and it gives you 20% off on the march speed, and not 20% off, but 20% extra, and then 20% off on the revival time. Now it's only up to 400 revives, which will not come out to be a lot of power, but it might be good for maybe players that are smaller, maybe people that got zeroed that didn't intend to get zeroed. But it was interesting that these packs did come out, and this one had 40% up to 400 times. So there was a $4.99 and a $9.99 pack. So that was really interesting to me. I think that we're all trying to figure out how we can play SVS more without having to break the bank, in the sense of, hey, we spent a lot of money building these troops. It is kind of stupid to, have one bad SVS or one time you fall asleep on somebody's server and all of it's gone. And I'm sure that it actually hits Evany's pocketbooks when they lose their coiners, right? Because people do have to, prioritize real life, and maybe they forget their bubble on an SVS, and yep, it's basically lights out if you lose that much. So I was showing people on our Discord channel this, and Zaid, shout out from 1134. He always has a wealth of info. And he's like, well, you guys got the crappy packs because we got this one. And so they get 70% of their troops that basically, die up to 2 billion power. So 2 billion again is not that much for big players, right? But look at this one. 70% of dead troops for after 500 million power. So can you imagine if somebody is 10 billion power and they can revive 7 billion of that for only 19.99? Now, we say like only 19.99. It's still 19.99, and it's still reviving troops that you already paid to build, right? So it is interesting that they're offering this. Now the problem is if one server gets it and another doesn't, right? It's kind of unfair how they're kind of picking and choosing what servers get this, and it's not fair at all. But I don't know how Evany's doing it. I guess I should ask Zaid to ask the people that he played against to see if they had the same packages that they did. Because I can see Evany being a little, you know, uh, I can see them not giving it to big spending alliances that are used to losing their troops for SVS because they're used to doing throne battles, and giving that pack to like the other side so that they actually play. But I do think that is unfair. I think it should be you give it to everybody, but it's just this is the Ebony way. So that apparently is something that is possibly new. But the other thing that I saw that I haven't seen, and again, I've been checked out for the last month, so people probably have been talking about this. I just haven't seen it. So I wanted to bring this up. Okay, so Zaid showed us. This is their SVS right now. Zaid is number 4 on here from 1134. But do you see these little icons for 1, 2, and 3 for the top 3 players? Right? So you see those icons that are different than what you normally see for SVS. Well, it's because this is a special SVS. So this is called the Miracle, the Server War Miracle Season. And during this miracle season, honorary monarchs who have reached the top 3 of the server war, personal ranking 3 times or more, up to 5 players, will have their honorary medals displayed on the monarch tab. So you saw that. At the end of the event, the honorary monarchs will be skipped, and the glorious server war areas will be awarded to the next eligible player in line instead. So I think this is a great change up, and I think they should roll this out to all servers. I don't know why they're only doing it on a couple of servers, because the reason being is because the older your continent gets, the older your server gets, or the more competitive your server gets, it is going to be much, much harder for smaller players or people that are not in the same alliance to get wings. And there's a lot of small servers, and I was on one of them on 1008. We used to hold back. We used to get guilted. There would be players that would like shame us for like getting points because they hadn't gotten their wings yet. But the problem is when you have really bad leadership that push the wrong people or push people they like rather than the people who actually are going to contribute to the server and game, that is where it's a waste of time and a waste of effort. And you could be building up your server with really, really great players, but instead you're catering to a lot of players that basically want this handed to them and then they quit right after. Go to 1008 Triumph Tower, look at that list of people with wings. Almost 80% of those people no longer play in that server. So that's the real truth of it. And there's going to be a lot of big players who are not going to give up their points anymore because Evony made it a prerequisite in Senate Council for one of the slots to be unlocked to be 2 billion SVS points 6 times. So you are not going to see people holding back that are on competitive servers especially. And, you know, they shouldn't have to. But I do think that people who try and put in the effort to get their own wings without it being catered to them are the people that are going to stick around longer. And with C3, we're on an old continent. People have been waiting for a very, very, very long time to get their king rotation. And it's very understandable that they can't get their wings because of so many big players that are trying to defend the throne. Unfortunately, that's the way of the game, but people understand that on the server, and I think that's great. But I think it's great that it opens up for other people on the server to get their wings because they don't have to hold anybody back and they get it based off their own effort. So this guy is a good example here. Now, he already got his wings, but somebody like this who defends the temples, that puts in the effort, that plays the cat and mouse, that helps out with resetting throne towers and all that kind of stuff. There are so many players like this. This is a opponent that we just played with the 45. He's not in the same alliance as NAG, but they put in so much effort. These are the types of people that deserve to get the throne and wings, right? And so there's a lot of players that contribute this way, but they're just not able to get the points. But I do think that a lot of big players recognize these types of players and do look out for them to help them get their wings. So really, it's just kind of a two-way street, but I love the idea that Evony is allowing the people who want to put in the effort to get the wings to do that without making other players hold back. So that's really cool.